Okay, so we have the following problem. A holiday campsite caters for caravans and tents. Each caravan accommodates 8 people, okay? And then each tent accommodates 5 people. There's X caravans and there's Y tents, okay? And the maximum people on the site can be only 400 people, and that's going to use to write down an equation. So this is going to be the first thing we're going to do, okay? That's going to be the first thing we're going to do, okay? So then next, second thing, we're going to do this. Each caravan can have a space of 60 meters square and each tent can have a space of 50 meters square. The total area available for caravans and tents is 3,600 meters square. Okay, so this is going to be the second thing we're going to do because it's asking us to write down an equation, an equality. Graph the set showing the possible number of caravans and tents on the site. If there were only caravans on the site, where's the maximum number of caravans which could be catered for? So we're going to do this third, and then we're going to do this fourth, okay? So it's asking us for 4 things. So basically, this is going to be a long question, so just get ready. It says caravans have 8 people, tents 5 people. The maximum between in the site is 400 people, so you can have 400 people, but you can't have 401 people. Then we have caravans take a space of 60 meters square and tents 50 meters square, and the maximum is 3,600 meters squares on the site, okay? So basically, we're going to do the first thing, which is asking us about. So we say the X is equal to caravans, and then Y is equal to tents, okay? So we know that there's going to be 8 people. There's going to be 8 people by the number of caravans. Caravan, we said it was X, okay? Because each caravan can, in each caravan there's 8 people, and there is going to be 8 people per caravan. So it's going to be 8 people by the number of caravans, plus 5 people by the number of tents, what we call Y, has to be less or equal than 400 people on the site. Why is this? Because the maximum people that the site can take is 400. Not 401, but 400. So it's going to be less or equal than 400. So we know. So that's one of the equations, right? If we write it down properly, we get the dots. And we have 8 and we have 5. Okay, that's the first equation. So now we have it done, okay? So the first equation, done. Let's go for the next one. It's asking us to do another equation to do with the meter square. So now we know this. Each caravan is 60, take up 60 meters square. So it's going to be 60 meters square by the number of caravans, which the number of caravans is going to be X. Okay, so we have 60 multiplied by X plus the number, so then each tent is going to take up on 50 meters square by the number of tents, because we don't know the number of tents, that's why we call it Y. It's going to be less or equal than 3,600 meters square, which is the maximum space this site has for the caravans and tents, okay? So we have 60x plus 50y is less or equal than 3,600, sorry. So now we have the second part done, okay? So now it says third part, graph the set showing the possible, graph the set showing the possible number of caravans and tents on the site. So basically what we do, we're going to have to graph it. First thing we have to do to graph it, okay, simplify. That's the first thing you have to do when you're going to graph it. Can you simplify any of the equations? Well, this one, you can't. So we're going to leave it as it is. And this one here, we can. Everything, we can divide everything by 10, sorry. So we can divide everything by 10, 10, and 10. So I'm going to rewrite the equation now, getting rid of the zeros, okay. This is going to be 6 and this is going to be 5 now, because we divided everything by 10. So now that everything is simplified, now we can go and graph it. So we have a graph, and because of the linear programming question, we know that these are lines. So what do we do with the lines? Okay, basically what we can do is, because we know they're lines, we need 2 points to graph each line. And to get 2 points of any equation, what we do is we're gonna make this one red and we're gonna make this one green, and I'll rewrite down the equation here. So we have 8x plus 5y is less or equal than 400, and we're gonna get rid of, we're gonna kind of like transform this into an equal sign, because it's to get points we need an equal, basically. So we do is when x is equal to 0, y is going to be equal to what? We have 8, 0 plus 5y is equal to 400. So y is equal to 400 divided by 5. So y is equal to 80. So we know that when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 80. So the point we have here, it's 0, 80. Okay, so we need 2 points for each equation. So we're going to call now y0 and see what x value we get. So we know that when y is 0, we have 8x is equal to 400 because 5 by 0 is 0, so we don't put it. X is going to be equal to 50. Okay, you can do the equation if you trust me, but that's the right answer. Now we have the number 50, 0. Grand. So now we have 2 points. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here so we can use it later. And we're gonna go back with the green, so we're gonna rewrite down the equation again. Is 6x plus 5y is less or equal than 360. And as always, we're gonna change the sign here into an equal to make our lives a lot easier because it doesn't really matter. So when we say when x is equal to 0, I'm gonna do this quicker. Y is equal to 72. You can do the exact same steps, okay? So this is just to make the steps easier and quicker, but you're gonna have to do this little step by step so you don't make any mistake. So the point we get is 0, 72. And then when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 60. So we got the point 0, 60, 0. Yep. Okay, now we have 2 points for each line, so that's all we need to graph it. So I'm gonna put this one here, up here. I'm gonna put these 2 points here up here so we can see them now. Okay, I'll put them one on top of the other one. Okay, so we're gonna do the red one first. So we have 2 points. Okay, let's just split this into tens. As I was saying before, the graphing two equations to find the point is not the most accurate way, but because asking us to graph it, we're going to graph it. I already have a video up on how to do this kind of questions, linear programming questions, without graphing, by using simultaneous equations, okay? But anyway, we're going to do the red one first, okay? So we have 0, 80, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 80, that's 1 point, and then we have 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Okay, that's another point. So now we join them. Okay, now green, we have 0, 72, so it's gonna be around here, and then 60, 0 is gonna be here. So now we join them together again. Okay, more or less, and then we get this point here. I'll draw it in orange. Okay. That's the maximum number of, that's to make the maximum, this is how can you allocate the maximum number of carbons and tenths, okay? But we're not talking about it yet, okay? This question is asking us just to graph the set of showing possible carbons and tenths on the site. So to graph it, basically, it's going to be this, okay? This, you see the orange thing? Okay, that's going to be our graph. Okay, why is it? Because this is the part of the equation that has both, that are including both red and orange, not red and green, okay? So this thing here is going to be the maximum. So we can have, this is all the carbons, we can have 0 carbons here and 0 tenths. We can have here, we can have it here, or we can have it here. Doesn't really matter, but we can't have any mix of them two here, because we will have too many carbons and too many tenths, okay? So that's gonna be the graph we have, okay? Why do we not go this way or this way? Okay, we don't, because we don't have negative carbons or negative number of carbons and tenths, because tenths are a positive number. We're not talking about money as a negative number, so we're gonna stick to this, okay? So now we have the third part done, okay? So now we're gonna have to do the fourth one, last. If there were only carbons on the site, where's the maximum number of carbons which could be calculated for? So the only carbons, okay, we have this data here. I'll do it here in black. We have that each carbon has 8 people, and the maximum people is 400. So the maximum people is 400, and each carbon can have 8 people. We divide 400 divided by 8. We're gonna have 50. So we can have 50 caravans, but wait, we're not finished yet, because we can have 50 caravans if we're talking about people wise, kind of, you know. But we also have a maximum amount of space. So we have 3,600 meters square, and we can divide that by the what each caravan, like the space it takes up, is 16. We're gonna get that is 60 caravans could fit space wise on the site. But because we're gonna have to caravans. We're gonna have to use both ways. The minimum is gonna be 50. So the maximum number of people, the maximum number of caravans we can have that include people wise and space wise is gonna be 50 caravans. So that's gonna be your answer. Okay. So that's the end of the video. I'm gonna upload this file into Dropbox. I'm gonna put the link into the description so you can download it and you can see it if you didn't get anything clear. And I'll see you in the next one.